What it do, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another video. Now this argument right here, this is known to start fights. This is known to cause problems. Know what I'm saying? This is known to incite violence. Who makes better movies, Marvel versus DC? Now I'm a biased guy. I'm a DC fan. I defend DC. But in the movie realm, Marvel, got it. That's my opinion. We're going to hear these points they talk about today. But in the movie realm, I think Marvel got it, fam. Their movies be off the charts. All right, what we got?
The original Spider-Man was not good. Like, I grew up watching those and I was not a huge fan.
The Tobey?
No.
Maguire?
Yeah, Tobey.
What?
She's smoking. You're tripping. Tobey? I think Tom is the best Spider-Man.
When I look back
We ain't
at
gonna act
my
like Tommy wasn't
since
dope.
I was tiny, the biggest impact I think for me has been Batman. When people really know comics, they know what DC's bringing to the table.
I could
This
see
ain't
how they can
comics, though.
defend like their video games and their comics, but I don't know how they're going to back up the movies.
No shade, but
Was that a DC
In
fan?
their comics, but
DC's bringing to the table.
I could see how they can defend like their
Yeah.
video games and their comics, but I don't know how they're going to back up the movies.
That's
no
factual.
shade, but their movies aren't that great.
Ultimately, you see a very cookie-cutter pattern of how Marvel makes their films versus DC, which is super gritty, super dark.
I will die on a hill of really apologizing and loving some of these new movies more than most people should.
I think our only expectation really is to kind of understand, where the other side's coming from. How do they connect with someone like Superman, who to me has the personality of a brick?
Hey, bro, Marvel. When it comes to the comics and stuff, I don't know about that stuff. I know DC, you know what I'm saying? They got a lot of stuff to back. They got a lot of comics. What kind of these movies on? I don't know how y'all gonna do it, fans.
To me has the
I don't
personality
know
of
how
a
y'all
brick.
gonna do it, because these movies, some of them are good, but Marvel killing it.
My name is Ryan. I'm a philosophy major at university. I studied art history as well. When I think about it, those things tie in a lot for the reason why I love comics so much.
Hey, I'm Will. I'm a lifelong, I would say comic book fan, but really DC homer, as my friend would call me. Apologist, some would say, to a certain degree.
I'm Matt, and I am as well a DC guy. I'm actually trying to get into voice acting and voiceover. Like watching all these animated shows and whatnot, it's really inspiring to see all these characters come to life through voice and whatnot. So
That's facts.
what I'm trying
That's
to do.
cool.
Hi, I'm Sarah. Marvel's pretty much always been like my favorite genre of movies. I love watching all the movies. I really love cinematography and I love how they're always played out. So yeah, I'm a Marvel fan.
I'm Nick, and I like Marvel so much that I bought a 3D printer and started printing a bunch of props for it. I've got a 4-foot Stormbreaker sitting in my room, not doing anything.
Dope,
I'm
though.
Chris. I'm a Marvel fan. I wish I could say super fan. Just within the recent years, I've been getting like deep and deeper into it. So there's some things I may not know about, but I'm cultured around the area, so I can get around.
Marvel is only considered better because of the movies.
Ooh.
Walk forward if you agree.
I knew all the DC was coming. I knew they was all coming.
Unless they're comic book fanatics, I don't hear anybody talking about the comics, let alone the shows, even the games or anything. I only hear the movies.
Thank you for being the only one here, by the way. Because it is challenging, I think, right now to be a DC fan because of that feeling. Socially, the conversation is Marvel. So extremely that every time DC puts out a movie, it's like almost expected that you're supposed to shit on it.
Right.
Because it's not as good. They did it wrong. Now have they stumbled along the way? Tons of times. But I get this feeling that no one's entering into seeing a DC movie to just be vulnerable and experience what they're being given.
And it's recency bias, right? Because Christopher Reeve with Superman launched, but then you also think about the Batmans with Michael Keaton, right, and Jack Nicholson, and then even Batman Forever with Val Kilmer. Maybe not so much after that, but there was no Marvel movies at the time.
Dark Knight kind of faded into the background when people talk about DC movies, and it's like those were great films.
I mean,
Big time.
we don't have a
Those
Marvel
were
Cinematic
great.
Universe, in my opinion, without Batman Begins.
All right, disagreeers, come forward.
Bro, no, those Batman movies went hard, bro. The Dark Knight, I'll back them up. Those went hard. But yeah,
Universe, in my opinion, without Batman Begins.
All right, disagreeers, come forward.
I'm still on your side, you guys.
Did you forget we were here? the movies, the TV shows, the video games, the comic books, the books, when you oversimplify it to one aspect, you're immediately erasing thousands of people's hard work and not giving them the credit that they deserve as they add to the rest of the brand.
I guess I'm thinking, could you argue that simply because of the MCU, more people care? It used to be that to be a nerd back, even in the 90s, because I love Spider-Man, X-Men, all that stuff from the 90s. Doing cosplay, when I was doing cosplay, people yelling at me, saying stupid, dressing up in movies, all kinds of stuff. Now cosplayers get millions of followers like on Instagram. The MCU actually made nerds cool.
Yeah.
And so when I think of better, I think like, kind of to your point, detracts from all the like suffering of the nerds that got kicked and shoved in their closets. Yeah.
To get here.
So now that the MCU exists, I'm like, oh, now you want to say it's cool. Okay, fine, yeah.
I do believe some of the comics do better than some of the Marvel stuff that is out. Like with all the Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man were not good. Like I grew up watching those and I was not a huge fan.
Wait, the 90s?
No. Yeah, Toby.
What?
I did not.
Sam Raimi? He's worse than Andrew Garfield?
I see those movies as like corny perfection. It's like absolute
Like you
cheese.
said, it's corny.
Right, I love that.
He didn't give me that representation. I'm an awkward teen. He was like a very just dark
I
and
feel
like
that.
brooding,
Why?
like more DC. He just was very not awkward, how I wanted to see Peter Parker.
You're telling me that Spider-Man 3 dance wasn't awkward to you?
Your generation,
Nah, I
especially.
think Toby killed it. I think Toby killed. My opinion, I think Toby killed it in that role, bro. I'm surprised at that fact.
Awkward to you?
Your generation, especially now, you can see that you guys don't really like the dark, gritty, because right now,
Everyone
everything
wants.
that's going on
Everyone
right now,
just wants happy
yeah,
stories.
everything that's going on right now, you don't want to see even darker.
I want
things.
depression
You wanna see-
personified.
Yeah, exactly.
I think DC kind of shows people like what they already see in humanity. They're like, wow, are our cities actually like this? Like, is this actually happening? I feel like people kind of get scared and they're like, yeah, I don't want to deal with that.
Really? It's a movie.
Loki of Asgard, and you will regret this. When you
Our characters are more relatable.
Oh.
Let's run real quick.
They are. You're Marvel.
It's just the fact
for
that,
sure.
especially like me growing up, that I could just look at like these different heroes. Like I was like, I'm not built like no Captain America, but I can relate to him in the heart. It's what matters. And so I'm just like, just
Captain's
seeing
my
every
guy.
character. I'm like, oh, that's me. Oh, wait, that could be me. Oh, that could be me. And just like, I've just experienced that with Marvel. And that's why I was just like, let me just run up in here real quick.
Peter Parker and his anxiety. It's so relatable as a teenager and seeing another teenager get all these superpowers and he's like, I'm just a kid, like I'm just trying to go to school, like I need a break.
It's kind of a combination between the comics, the TV shows, the MCU in total. When you humanize a character first and then introduce their abilities, you not only give the audience time to relate to them and attach themselves to the character, but you give them an opportunity to see them superpower,
That's what Marvel
amazing.
does
Things
right.
like that, just make Marvel just a bit more.
That's what makes Marvel does right that DC needs to jump on.
There is an element to DC that I get, that they are unrelatable. Superman really is the most obvious, because he's overpowered from another planet, all these things. But at the same time, at the core of all that is this unbreakable goodness.
Like
Facts.
Superman, one of the things I always found really endearing is he comes from a different planet. He has unlimited power, but at the same time, once he met Mom, Pa, Kent, he fell in love with like the family and being a high schooler and learning how to acclimate. And so at the end of the day, they are dealing with the same human and basic problems and conflicts that we have,
I think that's where Zach really tried to tie it all in. It's with Batman vs. Superman. DC fans hated. They were not about it. And it's just like...
Don't worry, we
bad.
did too.
everyone hated it. Exactly.
It was bad.
People were
It was
not a
bad.
fan of it, but it's just like he tried to humanize these characters. And that was really an important step to take, because with Superman, Batman, they were never shown to have a breaking point or be showed as the villain.
Fallible
essentially.
too,
Yeah. But also going back to representation and relatability, like, Asian. Not many Asian superheroes, but with Shang Tsung and all these other characters, I would give props to Marvel. And as long as it's not forced, like shoved down people's. That's what I really don't like. But as long as it's not shoved down people's throats and like you're gonna have to digest this, then I'm all for it.
when you guys did bring on Peter Parker and Spider-Man stuff like that, me being from New York, and so I was just like, I see him and I see me. At the time I was like, oh, you know what, I want to go to this college too, and I want to go here, and I want to do that. And then like, you know what, hopefully do get bit by a spider on the way there. So I'm just like, okay, cool.
I genuinely, as a kid, like having what I felt like my own superhero backstory was like losing a parent at a young age. Being kind of a caretaker to her, my mom, when I was 15, and still losing that person, it rewired in my brain many things, one of which was take care of other people and put yourself second, put everybody else first. To never show the crack in that it's actually crippling you trying to be perfect. Because I did always try to say like, when you see me, you're gonna be like, how does he just fly through life? You know what I mean? Yeah. I thought that was healthy.
I'm a person who believes in order to take care of people, you have to put yourself first. Because if you're not at 100%, you're not able to take care of other people at 100%. You feel me? That because if you get depressed, if you go dark, then you can't properly take care of other people. That's me. So take care of yourself first. And then you're able to take care of others more better.
When you see me, you're gonna be like, how does he just fly through life? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought that was healthy, wasn't. And then once I realized that I actually could be vulnerable, I could be broken, and that being broken is more beautiful and makes you more powerful, that sort of opened up the floodgates of finding those things in the DC characters. And I think the writers, especially now in comics, are going that route.
My fan community can be toxic.
All fan communities can be toxic. Any fan community of anything can be toxic.
You want to talk about a no-brainer question?
I was gonna say, I think we can all agree that every fan can be toxic.
Even if it's something as simple as, you know, someone's title changing or someone becoming a new hero, you immediately get the people on Twitter just being like, I hate this person. I honestly feel really bad for Brie Larson because she got the brunt of it during that whole Captain Marvel phase. Personally, I liked her. I think she's a great actress. I think she's.
I understand what the problem is.
I don't either.
I'm not a big fan of the character, but I was like, this is fun. I don't want to know what people
Exactly.
hate her.
It's like when you dehumanize the actor and treat them as they're only that.
Right.
That's not being a fan.
Yeah.
That's being an ass.
I remember when Black Panther came out, a lot of people refused to see it because they said it's a PC movie.
Exactly.
It's like there's so much vitriol in different corners. I like to believe it's not most people, but like the loudest voices on social media are like always
Always.
Yeah, exactly.
Because those are the ones that get attention.
Right.
Yeah, even the Black Panther, anything like this is supposed to be a black Superman coming out, and people are gonna be like, oh yeah, that's born of the political correctness. But there's been iterations of black
Also,
Superman.
it's comic books, so why not?
Yeah, it's not only limited to just white people. And
There's a multiverse for a reason.
Yeah, there's a multiverse, exactly.
Well, I get toxicity on my end just for being a girl. And like you guys are predominantly
I can't imagine
it's all males.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've never been like directly targeted at, but I definitely do get the sense of like, oh, you're female, you don't know what you're talking about. You have no idea. Oh, you're younger, you have no idea what you're talking about.
I feel that for sure.
I really probably could have came with everybody. I think the only reason why I didn't was because it was prefaced by saying my community. I'm not on Twitter, I'm not on Instagram, and so I'm ignorant to it, I guess is what it is. I had a weird situation. You know, I would be, I guess, more in the jock category growing up in the sense of that was more my reputation, I suppose. But anyone who knew me and any of my friends came over to my house, like when I started dating, like in high school, and the girls came over to my house, I had action figures everywhere. You know, so the jig was up, you know what I mean? And like, you know, this is really who I am and what I'm really about, and I always found I got a great reaction from that. I think if people buy too much into the toxic nature of Marvel versus DC or whatever the movie is and their gripes on it, they're losing a chance to focus on the positive of the character and why they love it.
Facts.
My side would win in a fight.
Oh yeah, that's DC, bro.
I'm going for it.
That's look at the horror. I be trying to tell my bros that they don't listen to me. I be saying DC, bro, we got Superman, bro. Superman. I be trying to, they don't listen to me. But you see the evidence right here. Marvel fans over here, you see none of your fans stepped up for you. None of your fans went up to bat for you. So I don't want to hear it.
I'm going for it. Wow, they know too. They know. It's good. They know what's up.
They know the place.
I think that's why the conversation is Marvel connects more with like the real person, because DC does feel like Titans. You know what I mean? And to me, comic books are American mythology. I heard that somewhere in a documentary, and it's true. You know, we don't have like an American mythos outside of like Paul Bunyan and like some silly stuff. It's superheroes is really what it is. And Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, these like, you know, Atlas holding the world on their shoulders figures. It's like, it's always them. Batman's like plan to defeat everyone is just, I'm Batman. And everyone on Earth goes, he's right.
I mean, if we're gonna get down to the brass of it, you know, a pissed off Superman, good luck. Someone taking out the big dog, you know.
I always see these videos on YouTube like, oh yeah, Superman versus Hulk, or Batman versus Iron Man. And it's like, it's all made up. People have their own
And listen, until Superman fights Goku, we know that's the real.
See, we're all delusional.
I mean, this isn't even a question. Like, the Justice League is way overpowered. Like, way overpowered. Right.
I would just say their brutality is a lot more severe compared to
Yeah.
Marvel characters. That was like the only thing that came to mind. I was saying the MCU is a little bit more light and fluffy, so they have a little bit more humanistic like thoughts, and I just feel like they would completely just destroy them, unfortunately. Yeah.
I guess my only question would be, you know, if you want to pit one person against another person, you know, the whole argument that I hear a lot with, you know, DC fans is Batman with prep time.
You hear that one so much, bro. I've seen that a lot, and I'm like, he's still like, Iron Man with prep time is a savage. No, but Superman, hey, you can't prep. You can't prep for that unless you got kryptonite. Other than that, you can't prep for it. And it's
DC fans is
limited.
Batman with prep time.
always wins.
What is that argument? Because he's just the dude.
I've never made that argument because honestly, the argument is usually he's already had the prep time.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's always the twist. Is
So you
everyone's
just
like,
assume he's already figured it
Batman's
out?
prepared for every his mind is like, I've calculated 17
supposed to
million
be
outcomes.
prepared, yeah.
Like if
He's
they
Doctor Strange essentially.
He's Doctor
without the time
Strange.
limit.
Yeah, like if they were together in a movie and Doctor Strange was like, I saw these outcomes, he'd be like, yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
And as a reader too, not just a viewer, I do get bored of that. You know what I mean? Because then there's almost no stakes. It's just like Batman knew all along. I was like, oh cool, so it didn't even matter, you know?
What I liked about Infinity War and the Snyder Cut was the level of dread you felt for the characters and what they were having to go through in order to get to their goal, and their goal was not ultimately met. Especially with Infinity, I got so emotional at Infinity War, and my head literally hurt after watching that. Having the character be vulnerable, like not having them at their peak. Is very important for the audience to be able to relate and to be able to feel for the characters.
big time. I love that.
Hey there, I'm with Aura, and today I'm guessing people's passwords in 8 seconds or less. It looks like your
Martin Scorsese said Marvel movies are not cinema. Step forward if you agree.
And he tripping with that, bro.
Now step forward if you disagree.
That's crazy. Martin Scorsese tripping.
Well, what does he know about making movies? I think we all are going to disagree pretty heavy with that one. If you look at not just the numbers and not just the worldwide success, but also the stories and the emotions and the ebb and flow of the storytelling, I think they're definitely not only cinematic, but some of the best examples of art that a worldwide audience of different ages and a lot of different people can come together and watch and enjoy, you know, where maybe sometimes a more boutique or arty film might not have that same, you know, response.
Yeah. I think the second you try to put ground rules on what art is, you fundamentally don't understand. You're missing the point of art. Yeah.
Absolutely. For sure. Like, how do you define cinema?
Right.
You can't.
Right.
There's no, you know, cookie cutter definition of, oh, okay, this movie is cinema, but like Shrek 2 is not. Like, it's
High cinema.
but it's that type of thing where if you decide that things have limits, you're already not only limiting the audience, but you're
that's
limiting
big
creative
time.
freedom. You know, if someone comes along and says, oh, that's not cinema, what are you telling the future filmmakers? That what they want to do is not considered cinema? You're immediately, you know, trashing what these new people want to do.
It brings people together is the biggest thing. I think a cinema can do that. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, me and my dad watch it together. Me and my mom, me and my friends, and we're all different ages. That's like the point of cinema. So.
Group hug, everybody. Group hug.
Hey, man.
Bring it
I'm Jubilee.
That was fun.
Oh, yeah.
Jubilee, I needed you to bring in the toxic fans, man. I wanted you to bring in the toxic fans. Like, I wanted to see argument like they come to blows. Like they almost all agreed on the points. It wasn't big argument. I needed to get the toxic fan base, the toxic people out the fan base. We need them going at it, and we need it. That's all we got for this one. I'll see you guys on the next video. It's your boy D Neal. Out.